If you feel like your husband or wife may call it quits on your marriage soon, it can be a terrifying feeling. You might feel helpless and that there's nothing you can do to save your marriage. However, regardless of how bad things are right now, there are things that you can do on your own that can help to salvage your relationship and prevent divorce, even if your partner has said they want out. Hi guys, I of course am Brad Browning. I'm a marriage coach from Vancouver, Canada, and I'm the author of the best-selling Mend the Marriage course. For over 13 years, I've worked with thousands of couples to help save their marriage. And the one myth that I constantly encounter is that one spouse can't save a marriage alone. Well, I'm here to tell you that this is totally not true. In fact, I've seen many saved marriages where all it took was one partner taking action, even if their husband or wife had already stated that they'd given up. So, without further ado, let me share with you 5 ways that you can start saving your marriage on your own and without your spouse's help. Number 1, accept the situation. So it's perfectly normal to have a hard time, accepting that your spouse feels the way they do. And a common reaction is trying to convince them that things can get better. However, this is actually one of the worst things you can do in this kind of situation. So, as tempting as it may be, crying and begging for your spouse to give your marriage another chance will absolutely not change their mind. Reacting to the news angrily also won't help. Since your spouse is already past the point of, believing that change is possible, your desperation will have absolutely no impact on them. And instead, these types of reactions will make you appear weak and out of control. So if you want to save your marriage, you're not going to get there through pity, cruel words, or dramatic actions. It's okay for your spouse to know that you're upset about the situation, but it's more important for them to know that you have control of your feelings. So to save your marriage, you need to accept the situation and acknowledge that you have played a role in creating these marital problems. So accept the fact that your spouse is unhappy with the marriage, accept the fact that you've made mistakes and will continue to make mistakes, and accept the fact that your spouse makes mistakes and that we're all human. Because once you accept your situation, you're going to be a lot better equipped to tackle the journey ahead. Number 2, build resilience. So once you've overcome the initial shock and accepted the situation at hand, now it's time to create a plan to save your marriage. So start by building strategies to take care of yourself and find a way to maintain a positive outlook. If you can do this, then you'll eliminate the one thing that you don't want to do, which is to give your spouse more reasons to want to leave you. Instead, focus on staying positive, maintaining your dignity, and taking care of yourself emotionally, physically, and mentally. Everyone has a different way of doing this, but find out what works for you and manage your emotions. One of the best ways to stay resilient is to find a main coping mechanism. So whether that's, yoga, exercise, work, reading, you just need to find an outlet that you can escape to when emotions are getting you down. Remember, your husband or wife isn't going to be receptive to somebody who's floundering in life. So the less reasons you can give your spouse to leave you, the better. Number 3 is commit to change. So that popular saying, be the change you want to see? Well, that's actually exactly what you need to do in order to save your marriage. Now, look closely at your behavior in the relationship. Ask yourself, in which ways you can change and to create positive responses from your spouse, and what behavioral habits your spouse reacts negatively to. Now remember, as I've said in many other videos, you and your spouse interact in what I call a revolving stimulus. So that means that everything that you do or say is going to elicit a response from your partner. And in turn, you react to their reaction and so on. And over time, you two develop a response pattern. And as you can probably see, this response pattern can dramatically change if you simply change the behaviors and reactions on your end. And if you do this right, over time, you will be able to enact positive change without the help of your partner. So, for example, if you've developed a habit of speaking disrespectfully to your spouse, they're also going to have developed a kind of reaction or coping mechanism to that. So if you stop acting disrespectfully, then your partner actually then won't need to use their coping mechanism. And if that happens enough, then a new pattern of behavior is going to emerge. And assuming that those new behaviors and actions or reactions are positive, then the relationship is going to take a turn for the best. Once you create positive interactions with one another, you can really begin on solving more of your marital issues. Now, if you guys have any questions about behavioral patterns or you want to share your experience, please feel free to just post in the comments below. I always do my best to respond to each and every comment. Number 4, dedicate yourself to the task. So you and your partner are the only two people who really know what goes on in your relationship. You also know what the biggest problems are for you personally, and you know the changes that need to be made in order to save your marriage. So determine where your biggest issue lies so that you can dedicate yourself to resolving these matters. Remember that initially, you're going to be doing all the work. And it may not seem fair, but you're the one that believes in your marriage and that wants to save it, right? It's not going to be easy, and sometimes your progress might slip. But if you dedicate yourself to the task, you'll eventually start to have little small successes, and then it's going to get easier from there. And best of all, once you make some changes, your spouse will begin to engage more and is going to become a lot more willing to assist with reviving your marriage generally. And number 5, seek help. Sometimes, if your marriage is in dire straits, you need the opinion of someone who actually knows what they're doing. Now, you could always try and get, traditional marriage counseling, but of course, if your spouse isn't willing to work on the relationship, they might not want to attend counseling at all. Fortunately, there is another solution. I offer one-on-one private email coaching to a select number of clients. So if you're interested in receiving ongoing email coaching from me, just head over to marriageguy.com/coaching. And on that webpage, you'll see my current availability and all the information you need to sign up. Again, that's marriageguy.com/coaching. Now, before I wrap this video up, I want to remind you that your partner's unwillingness to participate in saving your marriage is not a handicap. In fact, working alone can be actually more immediate and more effective than working together with your spouse. Since you're the only one calling the shots and making the changes, you won't be wasting time trying to get your spouse to cooperate. So just hang in there and don't give up. And that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more about how to reconnect with your spouse, head over to my website right now and watch the full free video presentation on there. The URL is marriageguy.com. I'd also hugely appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel here on YouTube if you found this video helpful. That's it for now. I'll talk to you guys next time.